Hey, Dream Drivers, quick word from our sponsor before we get into today's episode.
Ladies, gentlemen, welcome to the colorful world of Skittles. Skittles brings you a jolt of 5 fruity flavors in every bite, giving you the chance to taste the rainbow like never before. Break free from the ordinary day-to-day with the help of Skittles Chewy Candy. Skittles is a must in my candy jar. Movie snack, even my secret, so an afternoon pick-me-up. And I don't even care who knows it. Add a splash of joy to your day with Skittles. There's nothing better than fruity fun that tickles your taste buds. Taste the rainbow.
Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 361 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. Today's episode is actually going to be a solo episode. This is going to be a quick one. It's something that I thought of. This idea just came to my mind. And sometimes when you have ideas, like it's just best to act on them and to just see what comes of it. So that is what today's episode is going to be. We're going to be talking about the power of your childhood dreams, the power of your childhood ideas, experiences, and why I think really tapping into those when we are feeling discouraged or when we need some motivation or encouragement can really lead to breakthroughs. So I'm going to kind of tell you why that's important by giving you a little breakdown of some things that I thought about my old childhood dreams. If I were to answer that question that I ask every guest in the beginning of every episode, what inspired you as a child? I'm going to give you guys a clue into what some of those answers for me were, and then hopefully give you guys an exercise that you can enact in your own lives and try to get some kind of breakthrough from. But before we get started and before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to say if you're new to the show, welcome. Dreams and Drive is a show that's all about teaching you how to take your dreams from park to drive, and we share real people with their real stories about how they did that. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find us across the board: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Dreams and Drive. And make sure you also are on our email newsletter and get weekly updates from me personally. You can sign up by going to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. All right, so the power of your childhood dreams. Now, the reason why I wanted to kind of tap into this is because, as I have a kid, 2 kids actually. I'll talk about my birth story if you want to know. Yes, baby number 2 is here. I have children now, and I realize just how important I am as a vehicle to helping them realize their own dreams. And it's just so amazing to see my oldest son, Axel, really just come into himself and his own personality, his own interests. And I'm just really excited to see how that develops even more as he grows older. And it really kind of made me think about, I wonder what I was like at his age. I wonder what, I was doing at his age. And I realized, although I cannot think back to when I was 3 years old, I do have so many early memories. And there are some common themes in my childhood that I want to share with you. I may have done this on a previous episode, but I'm going to really take you through some of the key themes in my childhood that really speak to who I am today. And if I ever am feeling low or encouraged or don't know what to do, don't know what my skills are, don't know what my passions are, just kind of thinking back, what were those things that I did as a child that were really bringing me so much joy will be so important. All right, so I'm going to just take you through a list of how many things do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things. 8 things that I was doing as a child that still speak to who I am today. And I believe that we all have them. And some of us suppress these things that we used to love. Some of us have moved on or evolved from it. But I think doing this exercise of just kind of making a list of everything that you used to love as a kid and why you used to love it, what were those themes there, can really give you a sense of who you are and a sense of what you're supposed to be doing, especially if you feel like you aren't walking in your purpose. So number 1, cooking. I used to love to cook as a kid, and it's funny because I'm wonder why. And one of the, if there was ever a documentary about my life or like a biopic, whatever, you would have to have my parents in the kitchen with the TV on watching cooking shows. Like, my parents are no chefs. I mean, they're chefs, but they're not professional chefs, but they love watching the Food Network. Emerald, Rachel Ray, like whoever it was, that was always in the background playing in the kitchen. And my parents would always get these little tips or, new recipes or things that they could try. And they would always kind of try that. And although I didn't think that I loved it, it's funny because I wasn't watching those shows with them as intently as they were, but I used to go into the kitchen when nobody was watching or, make my own experience, make my own recipes. And now that I'm thinking about it, the theme from that is I love creating. I love taking things from scratch and making something. I love cooking for people now today, and I still like just toying with ingredients and seeing what makes people happy. There's something about physically putting food in someone's mouth that I enjoy. So that's a theme there. So number 1 was cooking. Number 2 was producing. So if you guys don't know this, or if you haven't been a long time listener of the show, when I was younger, I was in this girl group in my elementary school called KRS, and we used to write songs and perform at talent shows. And it's so funny because the 2 girls that I was in that with, Katrina and Samantha, I'm still friends with Katrina. You know, we kind of grew apart after high school. She's actually a YouTuber, big time YouTuber now, Pink Valenciaga. I watch from afar. I really am just dope to see what she's doing. But when we were kids, we used to be out here like making songs, producing songs, writing songs. And it's funny because me and Samantha, we still remember a lot of those songs that we used to do. Like we had this one song called House in the Hills and this other song. And my parents used to really hype us up. Like my dad would like buy me a mic from Staples, and we had this little Disney producer beats maker thing, CD-ROM. So I really liked producing and making things from scratch. Again, this idea of cooking, producing. And that goes into this love that I had for orating and talking. So as you guys know, I talked about this in my episode with Ruben and Sherry Johnson about I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and there were these things on Sundays called talks, and those were normally given by elders, by men, and women weren't allowed to give these talks on Sundays. But I used to want to be like, have my own talk and kind of like a sermon in the church. And I used to write out these talks myself and do the research in the Bible, go on the index and find the words and write these like 30-minute long sermons that I would like do to my teddy bears. So this idea of talking and orating was something that I really loved. Who knew that, 20 something years later, I would now have a podcast where I'm able to talk, I'm able to create topics and speak of them freely. But I really had this confidence as a kid in my power of the word. My parents were big listeners of the radio, talk radio, actually. If that's something else that was ever in a documentary of mine or a biopic, it would have to be my parents in the background of our house would have to be WBAI talk radio. Heard a lot of, I don't even know their names, but if I hear their voices, I know there was a lot of talk radio going on in my house. So that was something that influenced me from my childhood and kind of inspired me. Although I thought the topics were boring, I really liked the idea that people used to just call in and talk about their topics, talk about things that were interesting to them. So that was definitely something that who knew, but would be a pointer in my life that really still stands there today. So number 4, ideating, creating. Like, I guess that's another theme. I don't really know what to put this in, but pretending, maybe this is the one, pretending. Walgreens knows you need your medications, but sometimes what you really need is a prescription for more time with your family or friends, or just more time to do what you want on a Saturday afternoon. That's why Walgreens offers same-day RX delivery to where you are. So you can get more than just your meds. You can get your prescription to save time at the pharmacy. And when you have pharmacy questions, which let's face it, we all do, Walgreens will be there for you with a helpful 24/7 pharmacy chat. So when you need to know, which med do I take before bed again? Or is it safe to have a glass of wine with my prescription? You can ask a Walgreens pharmacy expert that question, no matter where you are or what time of day it is. And that gives you more than just answers. It gives you your prescription for peace of mind. Delivery is available on eligible prescriptions only. See details at walgreens.com/prescription delivery. My friends and I, when we were younger, I don't know if anybody else do this with their girlfriends, we would put babies in our stomach and pretend we were doctors and birth babies. Or we used to just come up with these ideas all the time. And I was always like the ringleader of like, hey guys, let's do this. And my friends would be like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I was someone who like had these big dreams, visionary, pretending, just really, I guess envisioning is the word. Like I dreamt a lot as a kid, and it was something that gave me a lot of peace. And as we're talking, I have to add one more to this list. So then I have teaching on here. it's funny because now that I think about it too, is I used to also love to make lesson plans. I was somebody who would see processes and then try to do that in my own life. So going to school, you have people, you see the teachers making their lesson plans. You see them with their attendance books and the lunch books. And I used to recreate all of that at home and then make lesson plans and do all of that and just pretend and do it with like my teddy bears or whoever would be there. So it's so funny now that with this podcast and even at work at Paramount, now that I have a direct report of working with interns, I like the art of teaching. And I think there's so much in having a good teacher. And I had great elementary school teachers, which I also think influenced me. Having great teachers is so important for your success. Even if it's not school, whether it's your parents, my mom didn't have as much patience. So my dad was always somebody who was trying to make everything a lesson. And I see that now with my own child that I do that. Good or bad, we'll see how that is in a few years. But definitely love the art of teaching and being able to influence and help open someone's mind, even if those minds were teddy bears back then. Okay, so then I have dancing. I love the body movement. I love being able to move my body freely, feel the music, feel the rhythm. And I have this vivid memory of my parents liked music. We had a big radio in my living room and having the Gloria Estefan CD. And there was this song, Rumba or Conga. And I used to get the dining room chair and get the CD and have to climb on the chair to put it in the CD player and switch the radio to CD. And I would just dance around the living room. Dance to conga. Come on, everybody, let's do that conga. I know you can't do something any longer, right? And so that's just this memory that I have that is just so crazy now that I think about it. How much that played out. I danced in middle school, danced in high school, danced in college, danced post-college, still love a good dance now. So that idea of body movement, moving my body, feeling the rhythm, being in tune with the beats is something that I still have in my life today. And then that also ties into reading. I was a vivacious reader. I read everything. Orange Public Library kids section. I probably read every book in there, no lie. And there was something about reading that I don't know why I love learning new things. I love being able to escape to worlds, creating worlds. Books were a getaway for me. They also were a vacation. They also were like an eye opener, allowing me to just see that so much existed. And that's something still that I have today. I think there's power in being educated. There's power in just knowing a little about a lot of things. I think that a lot of us are scared to read, aren't really taking that time to just sit with words. Now that everything's on our screen, there's a lot of video. I still think there's power in just reading that written word. And those are all skills that I still get inspired by today. So the last two that I have are here, and I have to rush because I hear my son is about to come home soon. Selling. So I was really big into entrepreneurship and making money. I never liked being broke, even as a young kid. I used to make custom bookmarks. I used to have a lemonade stand with my friend Samantha and same Katrina. And I used to just always be thinking of ways to make money. And it's just something that I think the idea of entrepreneurship was always something that I loved as a kid. And then lastly, the last thing that inspired me as a child was writing. So I forgot, but I used to have these notebooks of poems and poetry that I would just write anytime I was sad or happy. I had journals. I wrote so much, and it's definitely something that I don't do now, but it's something that I definitely want to tap back into. I would really especially love to tap into my creative writing. I used to have these books of poems, and I used to do a lot of writing. I used to make up stories and draw and illustrate. I remember in high school I was in a creative writing class, and I think about now some of the things I was writing were a little bit disturbing, but these were just things that I loved. And I keep telling myself, if you guys ever watched that clip with me when I was on the Jimmy Fallon show and I met Chadwick Boseman, I told him I wanted to make movies one day. And I always told myself, I want to make The Notebook, a great love story. That's one of my biggest, big dreams, is to make a film that's a love story and just tells a beautiful story of some type of love. And that is creative writing within itself, right? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. Maybe that will manifest itself in some way. But writing has always been the core of who I am. And I think it probably is one of the biggest things that has led to all the other things I really enjoy. So here, let me rewind with all the things that were my childhood dreams, the things that were inspiring me. I had cooking, producing, talking, envisioning, teaching, dancing, reading, selling, writing. And so I encourage you right now, pause this episode. Take out a piece of pen, paper, maybe it's the notes app on your phone or whatever it is, and write down what inspired me when I was a child. You can even put an age on it and really start to think back to who and what you were doing, what made you happy, what were the sounds, what were the activities you did that you really remember. And I'm telling you, if you just keep that list on you, maybe, what you can even do is like try to find pictures of who you were as a kid and just like, what was your essence? And I'm telling you guys, this simple exercise will really, really help just give you that creative boost, that encouragement, that inspiration when you need it, because we all need to be reminded of our greatness. And I believe as children, that's really our most authentic, genuine, uninhibited, untainted versions of who we are and what purpose and passion means to us. So take some time to reflect on that. I wanted to share this with you all because I think sometimes hearing other people talk about what inspired them as children can help inspire us to go back and take a look as well, which is why that question will always be one of the core tenets of Dreams and Drive and will always be a question that I ask to every guest unless we're in some type of situation where I either forget or I'm doing something new. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Would love to hear what you think about this episode. Would love for you to share this with someone who needs a reminder about their childhood and how powerful it is to tap into that when we need some encouragement for our own passions. Remember, we are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so make sure you're following us on those platforms. And also make sure that you're part of our email list, the keys, and get weekly email updates delivered right to your inbox. Just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. Keep dreaming, keep driving, and we will chat again in the next episode. Bye, guys.